The Ukrainian soldier who became the tank's crew completed training on the Challenger 2 tank in Britain on Monday. They are ready to return to Ukraine to fight Russia. The training started in January 2023, shortly after the UK announced the aid of 14 Challenger 2 tanks, complete with ammunition and spare parts for Ukraine. The Ukrainian soldier took part in operational and combat training with the Challenger 2 tank. Through the release of the British Ministry of Defence video on YouTube, Ukrainian soldiers are seen with the British military and a United States, US, officer. The British instructors and US officers spent weeks in this training, quoted from Euronews. Text on the UK military video states, instructors begin familiarizing gunners, loaders, and commanders with the Challenger 2 ammunition type. A British soldier is seen showing tank shells to Ukrainian troops. Meanwhile, the British Ministry of Defence is pleased to be able to assist Ukraine. It is truly inspiring to witness the determination of Ukrainian soldiers who have completed their training in British Challenger 2 tanks on British soil, said Ben Wallace, UK Defence Secretary. They return to their homeland better equipped, but no less dangerous. We will continue to support them and do all we can to support Ukraine for as long as necessary, he continued. Is the Ukrainian army training with depleted uranium? In the video, they can be seen surrounding depleted uranium ammunition, a component Britain will supply to Ukraine for its war against Russia. The depleted uranium, DU, ammunition seen in the MOD documentary is marked inert. The picture shows the object could be just a replica or has been used. Additionally, blue and silver training shells were visible next to it. The orange and black ammunition in the video appears to be an inert-looking version of the UK's CHARM3 DU 120mm round, said Doug Weir, director of the Conflict and Environment Observatory. CHARM3 is the technical term for a British stockpile of depleted uranium shells. Doug Weir then explained that when DU munitions hit a hard target like a tank or armored vehicle, they broke apart and caught fire. The fragments produce chemically toxic and radioactive DU particulates, microscopic particles, that pose an inhalation risk to humans. He said the use of the material was at risk of causing serious pollution. Properly managing DU contamination will be a further burden for Ukraine, in a conflict that has created a serious pollution problem, he said. Depleted uranium is standard ammunition for the tanks that Britain provides to Ukraine, although there have long been concerns about its health and environmental impact. Depleted uranium was previously used in the war in Iraq, where it is suspected of causing cancer and birth defects. Ukrainian army receives depleted uranium training from UK. Britain announced on Monday that Ukrainian troops trained in Challenger 2 tanks had completed their training period and returned home. The British Ministry of Defence released a documentary showing Ukrainians handling depleted uranium armor-piercing rounds. British instructors and at least one American officer seen in the British Ministry of Defence video appear to have spent weeks training Ukrainian soldiers how to become capable crews against main battle tanks. Quoted from the Russia Today page, Tuesday, Britain promised to deliver 14 Challenger 2 tanks to Ukraine, some of which have reportedly reached Ukraine. Meanwhile, the United States, US, has promised several M1 Abrams MBTs, and several NATO members have delivered German-made Leopards. All Western tanks required a crew of 4, including a manual loader, unlike the original Ukrainian T-64 and T-72 tank fleet which carried a crew of 3. The loader has to handle standard NATO armor-piercing rounds made with depleted uranium rods. Note that this ammunition has been linked to skyrocketing rates of cancer and birth defects in the former Yugoslavia and Iraq. When the DU penetrator hits a target, it shatters and ignites, producing DU particulate matter which is toxic and chemically radioactive, which poses an inhalation risk to humans, said Doug Weir, an expert with the Conflict and Environmental Observatory. In his opinion, this would be another burden for Ukraine, in a conflict which has created a serious pollution problem. Weir identified the ammunition in the UK Ministry of Defence video as an inert display version of CHARM3, the 120mm DU ammunition used by the British military. But Britain's Ministry of Defence said last week that it was unlikely the use of the depleted uranium munitions would have any impact on personal health or the environment. In an article published in The Spectator on Sunday, a fellow at the government-funded Royal United Services Institute, RUSI, think tank, Jack Watling admits that DU is toxic. Russian soldiers must not sleep with depleted uranium bullets in their arms or lick the tip. Projectiles traveling at about 1,800 meters per second and burning in flight would be more worrisome to any target, Watling said. Britain announced last week it would ship DU ammunition to Ukraine along with Challengers. The Russian Foreign Ministry called the move a sign of absolute recklessness, irresponsibility, and impunity. The Russian military doesn't appear to be concerned about DU's potential effects in combat. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, who is in charge of the Russian nuclear, biological, and chemical defense forces, pointed out that DU dust will contaminate the soil and destroy Ukrainian agriculture for decades, as well as causing irreparable harm to the health of Ukrainian citizens, civilians, and military, Kirillov said. Actor Orlando Bloom visits Ukraine, meets President Zelensky, encourages him to win the war. British actor Orlando Bloom took himself to Ukraine, met President Volodymyr Zelensky, and encouraged him to win the war. According to Sky News, Orlando Bloom, 46, also visited a children's center in Kyiv on Sunday. Orlando Bloom is an ambassador for the UN children's organization UNICEF. During his visit, Orlando Bloom praised President Volodymyr Zelensky. Bloom also felt it was an honor to meet him. It is heartening in so many ways to see the extraordinary stoic nature of the Ukrainian people, said Orlando Bloom. And of course, your message, I think, is reflected in their courage and in their determination and in their persistence and resilience. Seeing the children, looking in their eyes, the anxiety was clear. However, the strength of the Ukrainian people is something truly amazing, and, of course, your message is the reason for that. Zelensky told the actor, "We have a good country. We support each other." The president added that Orlando Bloom's visit to his country sends a big message. Orlando Bloom talks about meeting a family of 5 who brought 4 more children into their home. He said, "Hopefully it is a good future for the children of this country." He also assured Zelensky that UNICEF takes the problem of missing children very seriously, as the whole world is witnessing. Near the end of the meeting, Orlando Bloom said he had a video of his mother singing the Ukrainian national anthem in English. The mother said if she met Zelensky, she had to tell Zelensky to win. "Let's win," said Orlando Bloom. Ukrainian Slavs. Orlando Bloom later shared a video of the encounter on Instagram. He wrote, "The war destroyed the childhood of Ukrainian children. Thousands of schools in Ukraine have been damaged or completely destroyed. Nearly 2.7 million Ukrainian schoolchildren are forced to study online or in a mixed format. About 1.5 million Ukrainian boys and girls are at risk of depression, anxiety, and other psychological problems. We all know what this aggression brings and how much effort the world has put in to stop it, to rebuild Ukraine after the war." During the meeting, we discussed humanitarian assistance projects, reconstruction issues that focused specifically on the interests of children. UNICEF and our team will work in several directions, bringing victory closer and returning happy childhoods to Ukrainian children. As of March 26, 2023, at least 465 children have died in Russia's 13-month war against its neighbors, according to the Office of the Prosecutor General of Ukraine. In his speech the evening after meeting Orlando Bloom, Zelensky said, he knows what this aggression has brought about, how much effort the world has had to stop it, to recover Ukraine after the war.